All right, we are starting quarter two. Quizzes on Wednesday. Remember, quizzes on Wednesday. I'll say the same thing I said on Friday, and then you won't hear it again all quarter long. If you miss a day, it's killing some of you. All right, missing days is killing you. And well, let me put it: missing days and not making it up is killing you. All right, like if you already missed Friday, this unit's already out the window. All right, because all I'm going to do today is add on to the equations you guys graphed on Friday. And if I don't know what to graph on Friday or I didn't make it up, then I have no idea what I'm doing. Wednesday's the quiz. I'll be here today after school, tomorrow after school. I'll be here. All right, just let me know you're coming in ahead of time. You guys that were here on Friday, we graphed sine x. If you got to look back in your notes, look back. Where does sine start? Here we go. You should have key values every 90 degrees. Anytime I mention key values in this unit, I'm talking about a 0, a min, and a max. That's what when I say what's the key value, I'm looking for 0, minimum, maximum. Sine curve. Where does it start? Oh, okay. Sine curve starts at 0 until today. All right. All right, then where's the sine curve go? Goes to where? 4? Where's the sine curve go after 0?
It goes to the minimum.
Goes to, you sure about that?
Max.
Goes to its maximum. For this case, it's just 1, but we know the max is whatever number's out in front, right? Whatever number's out in front, that's my maximum. So for this case, it's 1, and it's every 90 degrees I hit one of these key values. Not every tick mark on the x-axis, every 90 degrees, pi over 2. 0, max. Where's the sine curve go next? 10?
It goes to the. Where are we again?
I got 0, max. Where's it go to next?
To the 0.
Back to 0. Next key value is 0 at pi. Notice I'm going every 90 degrees, guys. Pi over 2, pi. Now 3 pi over 2. Where's the curve go now after 0? 3. Minimum, which in our case is -1. If I had a number out in front, I'd go down to there. And where's the sine curve finish? 1. Back at 0. There it is. There's my sine curve. Basic sine curve. Again, I throw a number out in front. The min and max go up and down. Oh, good. Then we also did the cosine curve. All right, cosine curve. Where does cosine start? Look back if we need to. 1 again. Where's cosine start? At the max. In this case, it's 1, but again, I got a number out in front. There's my max. Goes from 1 to where? 3? 0. That's my next key value. Down to max. 0. Where to now? 9. Minimum. Depends on what the number is out in front, but for now it's 1. And then where do we start going back to now after the minimum? 2. 0 at 3 pi over 2. And then where's my cosine curve finish here? 4. Where's the cosine curve finish? Back at the max. There it is. Oh, good. Cosine and sine. Yep.
Well, all the curves always end where they started.
Yes. Correct. Yep. Might not be max, min, 0, but yes, it'll always end where they started. Questions? Last question for you guys. What happens when I throw a negative out in front? How does that affect the graph when I throw a negative out in front? So let's say it's -2 cosine x. It's -3 sine x. What happens to the graph now, Elizabeth? Maxes become mins. Mins become maxes. Does it affect where the zeros are? No, it does not. It does not affect the zeros. It just flips the min and the maxes. All good. Because here's what I'm going to do today to you. Not right now, but I'm going to put a plus at the end or a minus at the end. And how does that affect the graph? All right. How does that affect my mins and maxes and zeros? Any questions on the basics? Can you guys go to the assignment? I want to do a couple questions on the assignment from Friday. I don't know how many of you tried it, but there's a couple important ones I want to go over. So go to the assignment from Friday, number 5 and 7 in particular. Okay, take a look at number 5. I graphed a sine or cosine function, and I want to know what's the equation for this. All right, this is where we need to be here. Well, first of all, is it starting at 0?
No.
Okay, so we can automatically eliminate which ones? Any sines, right? Any sines, because we know sine starts at 0. On Friday, anyway, they did. On Friday, they started at 0. Where does cosine usually start? Let's think about this. Where's cosine usually start? At the max, right? Where's this one starting at 0? At the minimum, right? So what happened? What effect did I have to throw onto the equation instead of starting at the max, starting at the minimum? I had to throw in a negative. And if you count the units, it's 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's why it's choice 2 over choice 1. Questions? All right, these questions are very common. Number 7. Which one of these lines would not intersect 6 sine x? If you have to draw a quick sketch, do so. You don't have to, but it might be nice to see it visually. Tell me something. Where's this graph going to start? Let's go quick here. This should go quick now. At 0, then goes to where? Max, 0, minimum, 0, right? Good? All right, so there's a quick sketch of 6 sine x. Which one of these would not intersect? I'm going to automatically eliminate these two. Anybody know why? X equals, anybody? What type of line is x equals? That's a vertical line, right? So think about it. It doesn't even matter where it is, where this vertical line is. Isn't a vertical line always going to intersect this graph? I don't care where it is. And plus, even if it goes past or in the negatives, it keeps repeating. So always going to intersect. Y equals, that's a? This is horizontal. Y equals is horizontal line. All right, ready? Y equals -4. A horizontal line going through -4. Will it intersect?
Yes.
Will it intersect the graph? -4. Yeah, because remember, -4 is right here. I draw a horizontal line through. It goes down to -6. It's got to hit. But what's wrong with, why won't 9 hit? Y equals 9.
Because the max is 6.
Only goes up to 6, right? 9's going to be up here. So that's never going to intersect. Love these type of questions. Love them. Everyone good? X equals is a vertical line. Y equals is horizontal. So it's probably always going to be Y equals, one that does not intersect. Just got to figure out which one. All right, guys, I have to move on. Any questions on basic sine or cosine if I add a number in front or if I add a negative number in front? Because now we're going to shift them around now. Yes?
Number 3.
What's that?
Number 3.
What's the deal with 3?
I'm just confused on the bracket and the parentheses.
Didn't we go over that? That was something we did on Friday, right? Or were you on your phone for that one? Too soon, anybody? Too soon? Too soon? Too harsh? What's brackets mean? Includes, does not include. What's the number out in front, Jeremy?
7.
7. So what's that mean? What's the max?
Not 7.
Minimum?
-7.
So it goes to -7 to 7, right? On the y-axis. Does it include 7? Is 7 part of that range? Yeah, because it's the max. Is -7 part of the range? Yes, because it's the minimum. So if it's part of it, then it gets what? Brackets or parentheses? Brackets.
So is it 2?
That's why it's choice 2. The range always gets brackets. Increasing, decreasing gets parentheses. Everyone all right? All right, we're moving. We're moving. Here we go. Now I want to start shifting these up and down now. So we're going to take our sine curve, cosine, move it up and down. So not only are you just going to see sine and cosine, you're going to see a number attached at the end. That number at the end is my C value. I'm going to start calling it my C value. My shift If it's positive, going back to your Algebra 2A days from last year, if it's positive, I'm going to go where? Up or down? Up. And if it's negative, down. So right here, what am I doing to my basic sine curve? I'm going to shift it. Shift where? Up. How many units? 3 units. We'll graph it in a second now. So part B, what will be the maximum and min points now? Don't say anything. I want you to think about it. Ready? Our max. What was my old max before I shifted it? So I cover up the 3 here. What was my old maximum before I did anything here? My old maximum. 1? 1, right? My old max was 1, but what happened to all the points? It's getting shifted up 3, so what's my new max? There you go, guys. There you go. There's my new max. Now it's not 1, it's 4. And minimum, what was my old minimum before I did any shifting? 7? Negative 1. But now that point also went up how many units? 3. So my new min is 2. Questions? All right. What's the range then? It used to be what? It used to be negative 1 and 1. But what did we just find out? What's the new min and max? So 2 and 4, and we get what? Brackets or parentheses? Okay. So 2 first. We always put the lesser number first, comma, 4. Question, yep.
The minimum goes to the x value and the maximum goes to the y value.
Well, it's not x's and y. That's not how that works. These aren't x's and y's. This is a range. So on the y-axis, it goes from 2 to 4. That's what it's saying. It's not x and y coordinates. All right, and what's the middle line now? Basically, your minimum was 2. Your max was 4. What's the line right in the middle? It's what? 3. And I just don't want 3 anymore. It's a horizontal line. Y equals 3. On Friday, it used to be the x-axis, that middle line that cut it in half. I remember that. It used to be the x-axis. All right, well, I just moved it up what? 3 units. So that's always my line, is whatever the shift is. Whatever the shift is, that's the middle value. And I'll have an actual name for that middle line today. All right, you ready to graph it for me? Ready to graph it. Where does sine start? From Friday. From Friday. Where does sine start? 9? 0. But now what happened? I went up 3. So now it's going to start at? 3. There you go. 1, 2. Actually, yeah, we can do that. All right, I just want to make sure we're not going to run out of room. Everyone see that? It was 0, but I got to shift everything up 3. Then sine goes to where? 0, then to where? Keep doing your rules. 4, where does it go after the 0?
It goes up to 4.
The max. The max. This is why we do all the work beforehand. Goes to the max. So at pi over 2, up to 4. I'm still, guys, you see I'm still doing my rules. 0 to max to where now? 0 to max to 10. Where do we go now? Back to the 0, which in our case shifted up 3, so I'm back to 3. 0, max, 0. Where's the next stop for the sine curve? 10 again.
You go to the minimum.
Minimum, we already did the work. It's 2. Graph it. And then where's my sine curve always end? 12. 0. But not today. It's going to end at 3. There it is. Everyone see your sine curve just shifted up 3 units. Okay, hold on. I want to start actually introducing, is it possible to graph on the negative side? Do you think you could handle graphing on the negative side? what's going to happen? It's going to repeat itself. All right, so let's try it right now. Let's see if we can do it. At negative pi over 2, where do you think it's going to be?
2.
It's going to go down to the minimum, so negative 2. I'm sorry, negative 2. It's just, think about it. It's going to repeat itself. Where do you think it's going next?
3. Or negative 3. Or back to 0.
It's
Or 3.
It's got to be 2, 3, or 4 here, guys, right? I can't have new values. It's going to be where?
3.
Back to the 0, which is 3 for us. Then where? Maximum, and then it's still going to end where? Back at the 0, which for us would have been 3. Yep. So all it does is repeat itself. Okay, all it does is repeat itself. I won't ask that a lot, but I want you to still be able to feel comfortable doing it to the negative side. Woo, baby. Yeah, you know how I feel. Ready? Everyone good? All right, moving on. All right, new one. I don't have to answer these in any particular order, but the last thing I should have you guys do is graph. Get all the information first. Where are my zeros? Where are my min and max? The last thing you should be doing is graphing. So let's try to fill in as much as possible here. Vertical shift. Look at the equation. Where am I shifting this? Down 3, right? Right here. Minus 3, I'm going down 3. The shift also leads you to this middle line equation. I'm going to call it the midline. All right, that's the line that cuts the max and min in half. You just went down 3, so it's going to be y equals negative 3. That's the line. If I drew it in 1, 2, 3, that's the line that's going to cut your min and max in half. All right? All right, you ready to find the min and the max? Help me out. Even if you got to do a little math off to the side, that's fine. I may do that right now. Going to ask somebody, don't yell it out. Before I shifted it down 3, what was the max? Look at the equation. Look at the equation. Before I shifted it down 3, what was your max? From Friday, what was your max? Here we go. 1, what was your max? It was 3, right? But I went down 3. So now my max is 0. Everyone see how we got there? 3 was my original one, shifted down, now it's 0. What was my minimum before I shifted? Minimum before I shifted. 9? Negative 3. Went down 3. Now it's negative 6. All good. Period. How long is it going to take? Remember, period again. Let me review from Friday. Period is how long it'll take to make this curve. For now, on the x-axis, it's always going to be 2 pi. I promise it will change. And then the only one we didn't fill in was amplitude. That's a formula. Look back. The more you look back, the more you'll remember it. I gave you a formula for amplitude on Friday. That's the height of the graph. Anybody find that one from Friday? Look back, because if you look back, you're going to remember it more than just copying it from the board. What was the amplitude formula we wrote down?
1/2 times max minus min.
1/2 max value minus min value. Yep. One half 0 minus negative 6. What is your amplitude here? What is your amplitude? Here you go. 1 amplitude. 3. Yep. You ready to graph? Guys, the work is all done for you now. You did all the hard work. Now you just got to remember where sine goes now. Starts, goes, ends. All right, you have everything here you need. Where does sine start? 12, where does sine start? Do we have a 12? Yeah, we do. Where does sine usually start? That's cosine. Sine usually starts at 0. Problem though, do I want to start this curve at 0? No, because you have a shift. Where's the shift? Down 3. Now hold on, before we go, I'm already going to see a problem that's going to be upcoming. You guys see how my minimum's -6? And if I go by ones, I got 4 of those. So I'm going to run out of room. Is everyone all right? What do you think, going by 2s? Can we go by 2s? All right, just make sure you make a little note here. We're going by 2s here because we're not going to have enough room. All right, so it used to be 0, but I'm going down 3. So where should I start this sine curve? At -3. Everyone all right? Why I'm starting this curve at -3? Usually at 0. I got to shift it down 3. All right, starts at 0, then goes to where? 9. Where's the sine curve go next?
It goes to the minimum.
If we got to look back, we got to look back here. Sine curve starts at 0, goes to where? The max. We already did the work. What's the max for this one? 0. Boom. 0. 0 max. Where's it go now? 12. Where do I go now? 0 max. Here we go. 0 max. 0 max. I know, but we already graphed that. So I have the 0, we have the max, and it goes back down to where? To 0, but what's our 0 for this problem? Negative. Guys, stop and ask here, please. 0 max 0. Then it goes to where? 0 max 0. Sine curve goes where now? 5. Minimum. Already did the work. -6. Right here. Where's the sine curve end? 11. Where's it end? Back at 0, which for us in this graph is -3. Darn right. Ready? Let's do the next, because it does say, look at the directions from -2 pi to 2 pi. So let's go in the other direction now. If I'm at -pi/2, what's the point? Just keep repeating. Where's it going to go down to? Minimum. Back to your 0. Max. And where's it going to end? Back at your wherever your 0 was. Yep, just keeps repeating. Just keep that in mind. Keeps repeating itself. And you should flip it over and it should match right up. Questions here? Yep, Connor? Sure. Other questions? Yep.
So when you flip it, you go on like the negative side. It's like it starts at the minimum.
Or you could start at -2 pi and start it like that's 0. If that makes it easier for you. Start at -2 pi and pretend that's 0. And then, okay, 0 max, 0 min, 0. That might be easier. Okay, yep. All right. All right, now I'm throwing everything at you now. Negative, a number out in front, and a shift. All right, I'm throwing everything I can at you here. And we're only going 0 to 2 pi here, so no negatives here. 0 to 2 pi. All right, let's fill out as much as we can, period. Let's just get that done. That's 2 pi. All right, what's the shift? Vertical shift. Just by looking at the equation, what's my vertical shift here? Up, down, how many units? 12?
Oh, never mind. +3.
What's that mean? Because if in all seriousness, guys, on Wednesday, I'm going to ask this question. If you put +3, I can give you a partial credit, but I don't know if you know that means up or down. Up 3. Shifted up 3. If you know that, you know the midline equation now. The line that splits the min and max in half will be y equals 3. All right, here we go. Let's do max and min. Got to do a little math here over the side. The max. Before you shifted it, what was your max? Look at the equation. What was your max before you shifted it? 11? Max. My min would have been -1/2, but the max would have been +1/2. And we're shifting this up 3, everybody. Up 3, right? So your new max is 3.5. Let's see what your min is now. Your min, what was your old minimum? 5, what was my old minimum? -1/2, but we're shifting everything up 3. So my new minimum, 2.5. What about the range now? Since we just did max and min, what's my range? 2.5 to? Covered in what? Brackets. Yep. Minimum to maximum. 2.5, 3.5. And then amplitude. Let's use the formula. 1/2 max minus min. Amplitude
1/2.
should be 1/2 of 1, which is 1/2. I don't know if anybody's seeing any patterns between the amplitude and the equation at all, but there is. But we'll keep using that formula. All right, let's roll. Now it's graph time. Cosine. Whew, lot going on. Where's cosine usually start? Let's start there. 5, where's cosine usually start? Max. What did I throw out in front, though? Just so we got to start paying attention to detail. What's out in front of that equation? Negative. We ain't starting at the max, are we? Where are we going to start? Minimum. The negative says you better flip it, so we're going to actually start at 2.5. 2.5. All right, keep talking to me. Usually starts at the max. What's the next destination for cosine? Starts at the max to 11? 0. What do we know now about it? What's our new 0 here? I'm not putting the point here because I got a shift. What is it? Where'd I go? What's the shift here, guys? Up 3. So it's not going to be 0. It's going to be 3. Max 0. Tell me where it would go usually next. Max 0. Where's cosine usually go next? 7. Minimum, but negative out in front to the max. I already did the work. It's 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. Max 0, minimum. Where does it go next? After the minimum, it usually goes to where, 10?
It goes back to the, it goes back to the, 0.
0. It goes back to your 0, which for us in this problem is the shift, 3. Cosine ends where, everyone? Where's cosine usually end? At the max, but the negative says, nope, this one's ending at the minimum, 2.5. That's why I ask you guys to do all these numbers and find all the numbers first, because it makes the graph slightly easier. There it is. Questions from you guys before we do a couple, no more graphing ones, but a couple quick ones. Going. So do we all in agreement? We got to know where sine and the original, the OG one here. We got to know where this, we got to know the deal about the original curves before we do anything. Okay, we got to know where everything goes. All right, let's finish this up on a couple quick ones, and then you guys can get to work. All right, I do want to just show you one new vocabulary term here. It's a cool one to say here, sinusoidal. All right, I know it's got the word sine in it, so you assume it's a sine curve. All it is a curve that repeats itself. All right, I don't know if it's sine or cosine. It's a curve that repeats itself. All right, if I see a sinusoidal, I don't want you to assume it's a sine curve automatically. It's just a curve that's going to repeat itself. All right, we are told though in the equation here that it is a sine curve, and I need your help finding A and C. Okay, A and C. The A value is just a fancy way of me saying find the amplitude. Find the amplitude. You guys have a formula for that? What's the formula to find the amplitude, now the A value? Out in front. 12? What's my formula I've been using for amplitude? 1/2 max minus min. That's how I find the number out in front, the A value. All right, the curve should tell you what it goes up and down to. Can I get a little help from somebody? What's my max and min on this curve based on those points? 8, what's my max and my min?
Your max 22.
22 minus how far down does it go? To 6. There you go, everyone. 1/2, 22 minus 6. Eight. So the A value out in front is 8. C value, that's my shift, right? That's how much I shifted. I got a formula for that too. It's going to look pretty familiar. 1/2, the max and the min, but now I'm going to add them. Okay, that's how I find how far I shifted. I add my max and min and divide by 2. So it'll be 1/2, 22 plus 6. Half of that, what did I shift? This curve shifted up 14 units. So that's my C value, the shift. Do me a favor, go to the very front of your packet, like it's the first day. We're going to start, we got a couple more formulas to go in this unit, but can we get down the A and the C value, please? A is 1/2 max minus min, C is 1/2 max plus min. Let's write those down right on the front page, right on the title page, where you guys wrote your quiz and test dates. All right, let's put it down right there, because this is not formula sheet material. You're not going to find it on the formula sheet. It's up to you to remember it. So instead of searching page by page, it's going to be much easier just to flip back. to find it. So that's how you find the A, the amplitude, and the C, the shift. And I am going to have you do the last part, question 5, A and B, in your groups or on your own. Determine the range for each. Remember how the range is written. In brackets, minimum, comma, maximum, right? That's how I write my range, from the min to the max, in brackets. So you guys to decide, you don't need to even graph it. Just by the equation and the numbers I've given you, how do you calculate the min and the max? On your own, go right ahead. I'll put my answers up here in a couple minutes. You can talk it over with people in your group. Here we go. Let's find out the min and the max. Think about what it was before you shifted. If you want to cover up the C value, cover it up. And then say, all right, that was my min and max before, but now I need to add or subtract this number too. So on Friday, before I add and subtract anything, what was my min and max? And then apply the shift to it. Once we match, keep going. Go ahead, once we match. If we don't match and you don't know why, you better call me over quick. All right, let's get going. Once you're good on the range, get going on the assignment. What's that? Okay, so you went from -7 to 7, right? And then I shifted up 4, right? So -7 plus 4, -3, right? And then 7 and 4 give you 11. Remember, your old, before I did this, your old range was -7 to 7, right? Correct. And then I added 4 to each, so that affected that to -3. Okay.
Would I be able to
When?
6?
Yeah, I'll be here. That's fine. And then you guys know where all the answers are to these. Just go from 0 to 2 pi on all these two. All right, go from 0 to 2 pi to keep it nice and simple.
These formulas, calculate the range.
Well, what was you got to do this. What was your range right now before I shifted it from Friday's class? What was my range? If I gave you that on Friday, what would your max and your min be?
In function of 7, so the max.
-7 to 7, right? Max would have been 7, minimum would have been -7. Now I add 4 to both. So -7 and 7, I add 4 to it, and there's my new range. There it is. So I got to figure out what it was before I shifted, and then add my shift. Definitely fill out all the values first, and then graph last. Gotta practice here, because tomorrow we're gonna change the values on the x-axis tomorrow. It's not gonna be pi over 2 anymore, pi, 3 pi over 2. The x-axis values will change tomorrow.